Welcome to the Multipeak Marketing Podcast. Brace yourself, because we're bringing you top-level value, revealing powerful insights, and speaking to top individuals in the orthodontic industry. Let's start elevating your marketing knowledge with your host, Tyler Terrell.
Welcome, everyone, to the Multipeak Marketing Podcast. I'm here with a special guest today, Josh Adcox. How are you doing today, Josh?
Yeah, I'm doing great, Tyler. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So let's kind of hop into a little bit about you, the things that you do, and let's touch on Smile Doctors.
Sure. So again, my name's Josh Adcox. I'm a Vandy grad for ortho, USC for dental school, fight on fellow Trojans. And right after residency at Vanderbilt, joined orthodontic support organization, OSO, called Smile Doctors. Many of you probably heard of them. And joined back in 2016. So I was one of the first associate doctors or non-selling doctor to join. And I've loved it. It's been an amazing experience to start my career and grow my career. And then I've been able to partner with Smile Doctors as well. And it's been a really great experience, and it's led me to a lot of opportunities that I think we'll talk about today. So
Awesome.
Family of 5 kids. I guess you want to know that maybe. Yeah, from Arizona, but live here in Texas. Practice currently, wet-handed orthodontist in Harker Heights. One practice, don't travel, one location, and we're pretty busy. Probably one of our largest, most busy offices in our organization. And I only do it with an amazing team here. So I've been here about 6 years, and really feel like we're living the dream.
That's awesome. So let's talk about some remote care, the stuff you were talking to me beforehand. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So about 2020 hits, everybody really had to reconsider how we deliver care to our patients. The world has kind of determined that for us. And kind of gives a backstory. I'd been with Smile Doctors for 3.5 years at that point. I'd been working in 2 other locations, traveling, and then got asked to, in 2019, to join this busy practice in Harker Heights and take care of it. It's Scott Law's original location, kind of like our flagship location. So kind of put in perspective, we were seeing at that time around 150 to 170 appointments a day. Kind of busy, one orthodontist running like 11, 12 chairs at a time. And then, but that was like 5 days a week, 4.5. Fridays are about half day, right? And so after that year, I was exhausted, right? That first full year of doing that. And I kind of didn't know if I could sustain that my whole career. We grew the practice, like we'd been doing really well, but it just was a lot. So what's interesting is 2020 hit, and I knew I needed to make some changes to sustain my career in that way. And so as soon as the pandemic hit, we had been kind of testing some software called dental monitoring, seeing if that could be applicable to the business and the AI kind of buzzword right now, how that helps us be more efficient. And I kind of knew about it and wanted to dive into it. But as soon as COVID hit, we dove straight in with all of our locations at that time, over 240 locations overnight. We implemented dental monitoring. Then we did it at like a low level, which was kind of like a very manual basis. But what I did is I made some absolutes coming out of COVID with my team. We said, great, we don't want to see more than 100 or 80 to 100 patients a day. So no more than that a day. We want to condense our days to maybe a 4-day work week, not a 5-day work week. And we wanted to still grow. So kind of came up with this mantra that we live by in my location and with my team is we want to do more with less, but do it better, right? And so we just use technology for it. So we decided to scan all of our patients with an iTero scanner, push more aligner therapy, kind of balance out the heavy load that braces that can bear in a practice, and just hunkered down and learned how the AI could apply to orthodontics and make it more efficient, not let the patient experience suffer, right? And also improve the team and doctor experience. So we did that, and we came up with this. We just did it for a year after we got out of quarantine. And then we started looking at kind of the data and what we essentially have done. And ever since COVID, I've never seen over 100 patient day. And we, about 6 months into it, we condensed our days to a 4-day work week. And we're squeezing it a little bit more now. And naturally, our team kind of, we lost a few team members because of COVID, just didn't have childcare, didn't want to come back, whatever happened, right? There's that attrition. We didn't have to hire back. And so we're also doing on less team members. And so that kind of happened. And what naturally happened is Scott Law came to me and was like, hey, you're doing something special. So I'm going to give you a title for it. So he's like, hey, why don't you become the clinical director? And then he left it blank. He's like, I don't know what we're going to call it. And we decided on remote care. Because what we're doing is we're providing care remotely. And there's a lot of principles involved. Dental monitoring is part of it. And there's other principles that are part of it. And so we kind of came up with this recipe and a standard and a training to implement to other locations within the organization. And so my role is to help other locations within the organization grow and in these principles and remote care. And what we found is that the quality and the patient experience, in fact, is almost better because there's less in-office appointments. It's more convenient. And we're watching it week over week and allowing artificial intelligence, AI, do our job on the trivial many tasks that bog us down. So we can focus on the vital few things in front of us. So that's kind of the journey of how we came up with a whole department on remote care. Now I have a team, we call it my digital experience team, who helps all the regions and everybody around about implement these principles, because I'm just one person, because we have over 350 locations now, over 200 doctors. So we have a team that goes and does and implements these things and helps each team grow in this way. So that's kind of the gist of how we got to where we're at and what I do for Smile Doctors.
That's awesome. So you guys mainly focus on the patient experience. I know I was reading up on everything. So it's the patients first and then the doctors.
That's why I joined Smile Doctors. Dana Fender, he's one of the founders as well. Scott Law, Dana Fender, Greg Goggins, and 3 main doctors who formed Smile Doctors. And I never forget, Dana was a Vandy grad where I went to ortho residency. And so we connected. But I remember him telling me one day, I was trying to understand the world, solve the world problems with like how to straighten teeth. And I'm asking him all these questions about, what bracket you use, what do you do in this situation, all that, like a new resident or a new doctor would. And he's like, I don't know. Like, all that matters is that you love on people and the teeth will get straight and you depend on your team to help you. And I was just blown away. I was like, okay, you got this figured out and I want to be a part of it. So That's why I joined.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit more on Smile Doctors. So there's the patient experience. What other factors are there? Because I know we're going to get into some of the marketing on what the team does, but I know there's a bunch of other services that are provided. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, so when you join a support organization, right? And the reason we call it OSO is because it's just orthodontics. It's not other dental specialties or general dentistry. And we're kind of the first of our kind. And there's more that are trailing behind. And what makes an organization like us unique is, well, we have industry leaders. We have a CEO, a CFO, a CMO who are masters already in other fields who bring a whole different light to the table. Because sometimes the orthodontists get tunnel vision. Like, we get stuck in the weeds of the small millimeters that sometimes don't matter, right? And they help us see the big picture or the big strategy instead of just the small tactical advantage that we get tunnel vision on. So having an organization like that, somebody who understands how to grow, in other ways, gives perspective. The other thing I love about it is that we still have our core leadership, our orthodontists, right? Scott Law, Dana Fender, Greg Goggins, they are our core leaders that they all work together and we can protect the patient experience and not get too quote unquote corporate. that it's not just about the money. We keep our values, which are, love on people first, like we've already established, right, with Greg and Dana Fender, and that we move forward. Now, so one thing I love is, we got an IT department. I don't have to worry about Sally's computer not working for the day. They call IT, they get it fixed. Marketing, we can talk more about that, but our chief marketing officer, Jen DeJong, is amazing at her craft, and she understands how to, on a local level and as an organizational level, drive patients in, right? Our chief financial officer, right? He understands the business and can help us be wise on where we put our money, where we shouldn't. And like right now, when things are trimming down, right? We're kind of in a little economic weird uncertainty right now, right? Well, we can start to prioritize, right? And then we have the big vision of a CEO, right? His name is Jay Hendrick, who's just a phenomenal leader who teaches us quality leadership principles, and helps us understand where to go, but not let the patient experience suffer. And then our core leaders, right? Scott Law, who brings the culture and the drive, and Dana Fender and Greg. And so that's what's unique, right? And then we have the opportunity with all these talents to take what I call our ecosystem of like our software. And then what I do on my side is we have dental monitoring, but we've created our own app called Smile Doctors Anywhere. And that ties in with our software in Cloud9. And then we have our own, some people use OrthoFi for their financials. We have our own called Smile Right. And then we have all these platforms that all talk to each other. It's this ecosystem that works really well. And what we do is we have all these amazing doctors that have joined our organization, and we can take their best practices, because they're amazing practices, right? And individuals take all of that knowledge, and then we combine it. And that's why I've been able to be as successful as I have been in my location. And what I do is because I got over 200 mentors who have figured it out better than me a lot faster, and I can piggyback off their success and their best practices. And that's why this works.
That's awesome. And all these members are diamond providers, right? Yeah.
So, well, naturally, since we have kind of an umbrella account with originally had an umbrella account with, like, you're talking about Invisalign.
Yes.
Yeah. So, just because of that, you're at a top tier. Now we've kind of started to change that. We're having local offices, increase their own share of chair, have their own kind of accounts, but we're all connected because we are one group of Smile Doctors. And many of them provide a diamond level account because they do a lot of aligners, and others piggyback off of that because they're part of a group and they get the discounts and the pricing and also the extra advertisement, because that's just how it works, right? That's the advantage of being part of a group.
That's awesome. What kind of advertisements are there?
So it's awesome with you're talking about in general or with Align technology?
It doesn't matter, just any of it. Because I know there's organic, and then there's some,
Yeah. So what's awesome is we get to piggyback off a lot of Align's advertising with our relationship with them. So Zach Casagrande, he's another clinical director of aligners, right? So he handles everything aligners. And we have another clinical director, Bob Wall. A lot of people know who he is. He's been on the lecture circuit a long time. He covers all fixed orthodontics, and I work with both of them on remote care for both aspects, right? So between the three of us, led by Dr. Law, we can go and decide with our marketing. So like Zach, he's done really good with having success marketing on a local level and on a national level, let's say aligners, right? Specifically Invisalign. So we can partner with Align on certain ways to have, get ideas on organic leads, all right, organic content, but also inorganic content that they already have out that we can benefit from on a lot of these local levels, right? So as far as like influencers and doing it like on a national aspect, or like large influencers or local ones that we've partnered with that are like just the small town heroes, right? That people know about, that follow, that we are able to partner with Align and the office to do things like that. And those work, right? But I think the biggest thing that I've learned from all these other doctors, right, that have been successful in their businesses and why they're successful is just the simple principles. we're very much supported with materials and ideas to do, tons of community events. Like it's all about the community. You got to get into the community. You have to do events, and how you do events is very important. How you're generating leads, how you're documenting it, how you're following up with them, what you're doing, which events to participate in, which is basically do as many as you can, right? Support as much as you can. Get your name on everything. Swag, shirts, hats, water bottles, you name it, get your name on it, folders, get it out there. And then be genuine, right? Do things that are very helpful for the community, that like make an impact. And what I love is my team comes up with those because they live in the community and they know what's going to be the most impactful thing. The other part of like where I jump in is I participate in those, right? My team leads those. But the big thing I do is try really, really hard to develop really great dental relationships and maintain good communication on that front. And obviously you're going to see growth with that as well. A lot of people think it's, hey, you got to go straight direct to consumer. And I think it's a hybrid. I think you need both nowadays. And having dental relationships is really important to me because I was a general dentist for a while before I was an orthodontist. And I really appreciated when an orthodontist or a specialist took the time to form a relationship, and I was way more likely to use that orthodontist or specialist, right? So those are like the principles, right? Just getting down and doing that. So we have an availability because since we are such a big group, swag and those materials are cheaper for us because we get large group discounting. And so we have the ability to give more out because of it and kind of use those marketing dollars on events and sponsorships and things like to that level.
Right. That's awesome. So what are your thoughts on like some of the digital marketing stuff? Like obviously there's Google and there's Facebook and Instagram. How has that, like, have you seen any impact with that, especially like since COVID hit and everything? Like, have you guys used that? I just want to kind of pick your brain on that a little bit too.
Well, I'm definitely not an expert here. My expertise is, more remote care, clinical stuff. But what I've learned, right, being part of this group and piggybacking off the knowledge of others is it does work if you do it right and you're consistent. So I would say I'm not very consistent, but what I found is when me and my team do our best with organic material on Insta and Facebook has been our most successful areas. We're trying to dive into TikTok. Honestly, I'm not a TikTok guru yet. I barely have an account.
It's starting to get more and more popular for practices to use it.
But my team is, and they're great at it. So we're trying to get there. What I found is when we post things that are organic and they were like, hey, like call to action style stuff, and we're showing, cases or like people that got their braces off and celebrating fun moments, but then also showing, for instance, like we're normal people. And like personality, like fun stuff as well. Like, I'm not going to do a bunch of those dances. Let's just be honest. Like, that's not me. But the other day I was messing around in the clinic. I had my skateboard and I was kind of skating around the clinic, but one of the team members caught it and they posted it. And it's fun. It's like, oh, cool. Like Dr. Adcox likes to skateboard. And like, most people don't know that about me. Right. But they caught that moment and it was kind of fun. I was kind of skateboarding around the clinic and high-fiving and just stuff like that. I think, again, I'm not proficient in understanding social media in that aspect, but what's awesome is I have a team. Like when we post, like I don't really plan it. Like my marketing director, that's on our local level, who has consulted with our chief marketing director, Jen Zhang, and that whole team kind of creates a guideline that helps us stay on track. But it is up to us on a local level to do the work and be authentic in the content and things like that. So I think it's more of, we're given the tools, but then we still have to do the thing, right? And I would say we're okay at it. We got a lot of room for improvement. But I know offices like, let's say Amanda Gallagher, everybody knows who she is, or Glenn Krieger. Yep. They are part of our group. They're Smile Doctors that joined us, and a lot of people don't know because we don't rebrand all of the offices who affiliate. But they do a fantastic job of that. And if you kind of rated the ROI on it, I'm pretty sure, I'm positive that it's good. I know Amanda's is for sure. And I'm sure Glenn's is as well. I've just never spoken to him about it. So they do a really good job of that. So I kind of want to gear toward what they do, but I'm not them either. So we got to do it in our own way. You got to be authentic. Right. That's the number one thing, being authentic with it.
Right. I think the main thing I was getting at was kind of like the results you've seen, as in like what is working. And you mentioned like being fun and yourself and everything like that.
Yeah. So where I've gotten, so I'll do two things. I'll post to our normal page, or I'll post to mine and like do a dual post with our office, because I like people to see like me, family life, all that. But I don't do it regularly. But when I do it and I talk about teeth and I show some like before afters, or like we have a product called Smile Express. It's our direct to consumer competitor with like, any direct to consumer product. It's, 20 aligners, it's Invisalign, but it's at home. We monitor it. But when I talk about that, I'm like, look what you can get in only 20 aligners, less than 6 months. And then I get a lot of messages from people. They're like, hey, sign me up. Or Amanda Gallagher's really good at this. And I've done this once, only once. I need to do it again. When we have we call it like a smile celebration or an Invisalign extravaganza. Basically, it's an after hours event where we're going to do consults, and we do huge discounts on aligners, right? Or Invisalign. And when we do that, we have a call to action like, hey, it's one day only. It's this, here's what we get. There's the discount. You have to do it this time. Like, it's kind of crazy how much participation we get back and feedback back that I'm like, oh, wow. I didn't realize people were actually cared what I was posting or like wanted that. And what's cool too is when the team reposts, this is where the magic is. And then the team reposts it and they're super proud of it, because like any result we have is a reflection on them, because they're a very big part of what we do. It's not Dr. Adcox, it's us as a team. They're proud of it. They're like, look at these results. Like, we did this. Look what you could have. And they do it, and their friends and family also do the same thing and end up coming in. And so team member referrals is huge for us to grow. And we really push that. But the team naturally does it because they're proud of what they do.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, obviously I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but is there any other like little things that you'd like to share with anyone tuning in?
Look, one, if you're new out of school, remember the advice I got from Dana Fender. Love on your patients first and your team. It includes your team, and you will always win. And that's the best advice I ever got. You'll learn how to straighten teeth. The teeth will get straight. Take care of people, and everything else will work out. If you're ever interested in learning about Smile Doctors, you can hit me up. I'm sure you're going to give some contact info here. But it's been a fantastic career decision on my part. I couldn't really imagine doing any other way. And the last thing I'll leave you with is the future is changing to remote care. Like, whether we like it or not, people want it and need it. And there's certain principles around it that just make sense. I kind of call it the Blockbuster and Netflix story. You got to get on board or you're going to get left behind. And if your organization doesn't have a remote care program, you better get one. And if you're a private practice, you got to start going more digital and head that direction. Now, braces will never go away, but how you communicate with your patients is changing, and it needs to be in that style. So that's my bias, obviously. And I'm going to stick to it.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Josh, for tuning in with us. And thank you for anyone who else is tuning in. And I hope, Josh provided a lot of value and the importance of having something like Smile Doctors. So with that being said, I'll end it right here. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Tyler.